Good morning.
Hi, Catherine.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you today?
I'm doing awesome. I'm glad I get to talk with you. I love
Yeah,
your artwork behind you.
thank you. I was going to say, I really dig that painting you got back there.
Thank you. That goes all the way up the wall.
Oh, good for you. Yeah,
So
it's one of
I'm
those things.
creative. I'm just not, I'm creative in different ways.
Yeah, right. Well, we all have our niche, so to speak. But yeah, I find that one of the simple things but can be complex is that we need to surround ourselves around original artwork. I think it's very important. That's kind of something I do too. I actually paint. I painted that logo. That logo is actually a painting that I did about a year ago, and my wife's a fifth grade teacher, and she was like, "I'm putting that in my room." So, um,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, no, it's all good.
My son, he likes to paint and I love his artwork. And
Uh-huh.
he's only 10. He's been painting for a while. And he's got some pieces in his bedroom. And I'm like, are you done with those yet? Because I really like them. Because, they're just kind of got that cool vibe, that an 8-year-old does. And
Uh-huh.
I was like, I'm ready for that one. He was like, I'm not ready to give it to you yet, Mom. I was like, all right.
Well, kids have this unbridled like way of looking at the world. There's no walls, and it's just so fresh and good. There's something
Yes.
very quintessential about kid art. I love it. Um,
Yeah. We renovated a downtown city block and I wanted his artwork in there. So I get him these huge canvases, 4-foot canvases, and then the hollowed out doors. And he does all these, I guess, abstract creative type stuff. He's got an art teacher that worked with him on it. It turned out pretty cool. And it's neat to have a little bit of him in the business, but not in the business.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's fun.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. Where are you located?
I'm in South Carolina, about an
Okay,
hour south of Charlotte, North Carolina. So most people know where Charlotte International Airport is. I'm an hour south of there. And for 20 years, I just got on the airplane and traveled wherever they told me to go when I worked at the bank. So,
okay, excellent. Well, we're going to get into all of that, but before we do, we all survived this COVID time period for the last 3 years. I'm wondering how you got through it and how it's changed the way that you do things now.
yeah, it's skipping just a little bit on the internet, but I heard you about COVID.
Okay.
So are you familiar with Mayberry?
Yeah.
Okay, I live in Mayberry basically, and so we just all moved up to the lake and life didn't really change a whole lot. So we got, a group of people that live in town and then we all just kind of move up to the lake during the summertime. And since COVID hit around March around here and none of the businesses were really open, we just all migrated up there and basically floated around from house to house and made dinners. And there was just a group of 5 families that worked and worked remote. The most of I would say all of them are small business owners. And so if you're going to survive, you figure out how to make it happen. And so everybody just buckled down and did what you got to do. And you're either all in or you're not. And we gotta feed people around here and we've got to provide paychecks. So we're gonna keep working and keep doing that. I had just left corporate my last day was June 30th of 2019. And I had been quickly rehired by the CEOs that had needed trust in their trust. And, I wasn't really afraid to go out there and support them because I knew who they were and we had established relationship. And so in a way it created opportunities for me. They had like one CEO had criteria where he needed me to go drive to wherever he was, which I was like, that's fine. He said, just don't get on a plane. I'm like, okay, we can do this. And then I had another big group coaching engagement, flew out there, set them up in January. And then, COVID hit and we just moved to Zoom meetings and WebEx meetings. And I think it just proved what needed to be proved in corporate America that work can still get done without having to have people in the office necessarily. But there's still people struggling with how to get people back in the office and they're working through it. And I think we just got to look at stuff in a new way and know, are we still getting the end result or are we just trying to get people in an office? What's the real goal here? People
Yeah.
in the office or getting the work done?
Yeah,
So
right.
kind
That's
of
a
a long
good
answer.
Yeah, that's a good question. So let's get to the heart and soul of what you do for a daily on a daily basis for a living. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of grade school kids. Okay.
Yeah.
Career day, third graders, one of the kids looks up and says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
I help people get what they want. I just spoke to a group of fifth graders not too long ago, and I asked them what their dream was, and one of them said they wanted to be a video gamer, and I just bounced right back at them. There's a crowd of 100 of them, and it's kind of scary talking to fifth graders. And I'm standing up there with a microphone, and I'm like, "What's your dream?" And they said, "A video gamer." I said, "That is awesome." I said, "What do you need to do to get started?" And they were like, "I got to keep playing these games." I said, "Fantastic." I said, "Where do you play these games?" They said, "On YouTube." I was like, "Great. You have a YouTube channel yet?" He said, "No, but I'm going to get one." I said, "Great." And then the next little girl, she says, "I want to be a small business owner." I was like, "Fantastic. What are you going to do to make that happen?" And she was dressed in this cute little houndstooth outfit and had her hair all done. And I said, "Well, how many locations do you want?" She said, "I think I'm going to have a few locations." I said, "What kind of business is it?" She said, "I'm going to create a spa." I was like, "Fantastic." I said, "Now you're going to need to be able to take some classes. So you got to do good in school to be able to get there." And so just kind of coached them through the process. But they get excited about it. And I didn't realize it. But one of the moms later said, "You're the only one that didn't shoot that kid down when he said he wanted to play video games."
Yeah,
I'm like, people get paid to play video games. Why can't that kid have a future doing that if that's what he wants to do?
right. That's true. It's
So
totally true.
anyway, I get fired up about it.
I like it. So when you were in that position and you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be an architect, and as a good parent, my mom had me go out and meet with architects because I love to creatively problem solve. I love to be able to figure out what are the boundaries that we need to fit within. And with architecture, you got boundaries within there. And so I wanted to be an architect. And so I met a bunch of architects, and they weren't happy. They said that basically their customers are dream killers. They have all these beautiful creative solutions, and they said the customer, they don't like what we offer them. They want to come back and tell us how it doesn't work. And I was like, "Oh, I don't want to be in a dream killer situation." And then at the time, the women that talked to me, they said, "You just stay in the back office because it's a man dominated industry. And you're just not going to be able to really succeed." And I don't know if I just talked to a lot of bad people, but after a theme of about six different people saying, "Do anything but this," I was like, "Yee." All right. So that creative outlet just got shut down. Why don't I just go get a business degree? Because that'll allow me to go do anything, which it did. It opened up doors to tons of opportunities, tons of businesses. And I listened to what their needs were, and I got to creative problem solve for so many incredible people. And I loved it. It allowed us to grow the business. It opened up doors and career opportunities like never seen before. The irony is that we moved to Mayberry, and I made a deal with my husband. I said, "Okay, if we're going to move to this little tiny town, I do not want to live in my forever house. So the deal is we're going to buy just old houses and flip them because I wanted to be that designer architect and be able to take old house frames and be able to make them new again and redefine how they could be used." And the irony is we've done at least a dozen houses since we moved over here. And then we've either done totally gutted, rebuilt them, and added on the back of mill houses. We've built a house from scratch in 54 days. And then most recently, over time, we purchased a city block downtown. And he just said, "Figure it out." I said, "How many people do you need? How many conference rooms are you going to need, et cetera?" And then I just reverse engineered into this old city block of how are we going to make it work, and then ended up managing that project. And you figure out creative ways on how to stretch the dollar
Yeah.
based off of where you put the plumbing and the electrical and all that good stuff. So I spent probably 2021. I didn't realize it, but I'd spent a good amount of time renovating all of that space. But it's pretty cool to get to see it now, and I'm
Yeah.
excited about it.
So who's been an inspiration for you in your life? Who's been kind of a hero that's fueled you to be who you are?
I've had different heroes along the line. I remember being in high school, and some silly reason I got nominated as a sophomore to be president of the Spirit Club, which I thought was a terrible idea because I'm not a cheerleader, I'm not a motivator. I just want to be behind the scenes and an introvert. And I remember Betty Mitchell, and she was over this Spirit Club, and she just navigated me through this process. And so she was a great mentor at the time. Then when I got my first real corporate job, this guy, I mean, I still text him today. I'm like, "Hey, thanks for opening up so many doors for me." Kenneth Ritchie, he was not just a mentor, but a sponsor. And sponsors really open up the doors for a lot of people, and women don't have enough sponsors out there. even in no matter what industry, women do not have enough sponsors. I'm actually going to go do a talk about that one in June. And then probably I had a brief mentor with Whitney Johnson, totally cold called her, emailed her, loved her podcast interview from somebody, and I just spilled my guts in an email and she responded. And then I ended up hiring her to do work at the bank. And she just was able to pour what I needed into me at the time. Same thing happened with another guy named Bob Musta, fantastic guy up in Detroit, just unbelievably just smart business guy, solving problems from a new perspective. And he was trained by Edward Deming and Clayton Christensen and all these just crazy smart people. And I got to spend time with him, but I cold called him out of a Vegas conference that I met him. I emailed him, tracked him down. He was like, "How'd you find me?" I was like, "Well, I found you and I need your help." And he was like, "Okay." And so he mentored me. So it's like when you're at the right place with the right time with the right people, you get what you need. And then Marshall Goldsmith has also been just really helpful with the coaching aspect that I'm doing with leadership and executive coaching. I like his work because it is simple and it may not always be easy, but we can get back to basics and really create an impact.
That's a perfect lead into my next question. You've obviously gone after people that you've admired and you want to either hire them or learn more about them. But if you can meet one person on the planet right now and spend some time with them, who would that be?
My next person, it broke just a little bit. So my next person I want to go after.
Any like or anybody that's alive on the planet right now, who would you love to meet and talk to?
So that's what I'm struggling with right now. And I signed up to do some pretty high end investment in me as far as coaching and development and where do I want to take this business, because the last few years has allowed me to really test some theories, because I was like, 20 years under somebody else's logo in corporate, you're safe. You go out there and you got to put your name and your face on front of something. It's like game changer.
Yeah.
So you've got to like have confidence and you've got to be able to prove yourself. And so I've proved myself. And now the next phase is, how do I let more people know that this is really what I enjoy doing and I excel at it? And it's not just the coaching, but it's the creative problem solving with it and really listening to what the needs are. And so a few months ago, I was like, gosh, I've worked hard. I got cash in the bank. I can either put it in the stock market or I can put it myself. And I'm one of those crazy people. If you tell me what to go do, I'm going to go do it. And so I realized I'm one of those few people that just does stuff. And so I thought about it and I said, I'm just going to invest in myself. And I go all in. And I fell for, I guess, that marketing attraction, like just incredible marketing. And then when the delivery came, it dropped. I was like, well, maybe. And what I did learn is I'm in this room with these people. And what I did learn was I've already got like what they're teaching. Like I have access to this stuff. And maybe I wasn't giving myself full credit for what I had access to. So it was eye-opening in that piece. And then what I learned was it was the marketing piece that attracted me. And I need to find somebody, and marketing is just such a generic term. But what I'm looking for next, and I had a phone call yesterday with somebody and it got me excited again. So I think this is what I'm pivoting into. I had to figure out how to exit the big thing that I invested in, because I was like, ooh, this is a bad idea. I got to get out. And so I was luckily able to position and not burn bridges and get out of that. It just wasn't a good fit for me. It's probably a good fit for a lot of other people. But what I'm seeing is, how do I take these successes and be able to get in front of the right people to be able to share the narrative and be able to share the story. And so yesterday I had a call with somebody and I'm learning again, and I'm learning about metrics, and I'm learning about, I've taught tons of classes on business development and networking and sales negotiation, but it's different when it's you. It's different when it's like from scratch to novo. And so the call I had yesterday re-energized me to where I'm like, oh, I think this might be like the next cool thing. I got the work down pat. Now let me go learn about how I can get in front of the right people at the right time and really understand what's out there in today's world versus what was out there even 10 years ago with what I did when I was in corporate. So starting something from scratch and understanding the marketing, branding of it. And when I say that, like I'm talking about like the deep understanding of what makes that engine work behind the scenes and creating processes that support it. So that's what intrigues me right now. I don't have a person, like a name, like, oh, I want to meet Oprah Winfrey. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But for me, I want to keep learning and I want to apply it in my life. And that's just kind of where I am, is like, how do I take this, much like a songwriter, like you've proven yourself, you're here, famous local. How do you take it national? How do you take it global?
Yeah.
And you got to be with the right people. And that's what I'm struggling with now is finding the right people that I can have conversations, good business conversations with, and get in front of the right people for the opportunities that may be ahead.
So in this pursuit to learn and grow and to do the things that you want to do in your life, obviously every day we get up, we have things we want to do. What's your motivator? What gets you moving and gets you to be happy at the end of the day?
So I've done a lot of reflection on this of like, what is that trigger? And I do this with my coaching clients. What is that trigger that is going to set you up for success? And this is going to sound uber simple, but that's why I like Marshall's work, Marshall Goldsmith's work. It's simple. It's not always easy. The simple thing is, if I go to bed at a decent time the night before, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to feel refreshed. And I can, if I take care of myself, my body, my mind, and everything, I go to bed at a decent hour, I get up, I feel good, I feel energized. And it makes me want to be like, I'm not a slug laying in the bed. I want to get up. And so when we take care of ourselves and, the sun comes up and we're like, it feels good. And so we start off the day the right way. And, I've got processes, I have a cup of tea and you talk to the family and take the kid to school. And then, like, I very much have that routine. I get the exercise done in the morning because if I don't get it done then, it's just not going to happen. I build in time for meditation. And I have found that I have got to create time for myself in the morning. Hence, we're not meeting at 7 a.m., we're meeting at 10 because I need that time in the morning to be able to do what I need to do to take care of myself in order to give to the rest of the people the rest of the day. And time management is a huge aspect of it, planning my week ahead and knowing that I can only mentally handle probably 3 or 4 intense present conversations a day, and know to have that on the calendar and also create space to only have about 3 a day or 2 a day and know that I can plan this stuff out, because when you show up, you got to bring all your energy. And if you do 8 hours nonstop with that energy, like, you're just going to be drained and you're not going to be able to give to the family at the end of the day. So time management is a huge piece of that, and knowing that it will all get done. It just may not all get done today.
Yeah, for sure. So in this life of ours, there's ups and downs and we gain wisdom based on what we live through. If you were to have a dream tonight and you ran into the 20-year-old version of yourself, and you could give that version of you a piece of advice based on what you've gone through, the wisdom you've gained, what would you tell that younger version?
I'm kind of split two different ways. One way is, it is always going to work out. Like, quit worrying about everything, because I like to have a plan and worry. Um, so like, one path is just know that it's all going to work out. Lean into whatever your curiosity is, because that's what's going to get you to where you're going to be at the end of the day, at the end in 20 more years, 25 more years. Like, just know that what you're doing, it's working. Consistency wins. And then on the other hand, I've got this other voice that I would never have known. I had joked with my husband when we got married that I want to retire at 40. I'll work the first 20 years. I'll do the benefits. I'll be the stable person. I'll take care of all that kind of stuff. You go do your serial entrepreneurism. It'll be great. And at times I'm like, he's goofing off and having a good time, and that's just irritating me to death. But what got me going was the fact that, hey, I got 20 years in, he's got to figure out how to carry the next 20 years. So this has been going on. And so I finally turned in my notice from retire, which means I get to do what I want to do, which is this coaching and creative problem solving with our folks. And what he said to me was, I didn't realize how happy you are now not working in that environment. If I had known that, you should have quit 10 years ago. So in the back of my mind, even now, I'm like, God, we didn't have anything back then. What difference does it make? Why didn't I just go do something? But I didn't know what it was going to be. But my plan was go to corporate and learn as much as you can, travel, see the world, and support them, and then be able to take those lessons and pivot into the next thing on your own. And there's just a little bit of that curiosity. What if I didn't take that traditional path, and where would it have led? Who knows?
Yeah. So beyond your family, of all of the things that you've done and accomplished up to this point, what are you the proudest of?
Beyond my family,
Yeah.
or including my family?
Well, I would think family's going to be on the top of that, but if you look at your business life and what you've accomplished,
Yeah,
what would it be?
that's a great question. I don't know. There's different phases of life bring different moments of pride. Life has already exceeded all of my expectations, which is a really weird feeling. I guess I just set the bar pretty low. Um, gosh, what I don't even know what I'd be most excited about. I think there's just more out there. I don't think I've hit it yet.
Yeah.
Um, I just think there's not there's some mediocre stuff that I've done, which is pretty significant, but I just feel like there's more. And I feel like I don't know what that more is, but I haven't found it yet.
Okay. Well, then let's turn this into something that may be a little bit more definitive.
Mhm.
Everyone has a perception of you, all these people in your life, family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you ultimately run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
That's a good question too. My perception of who I am, the irony is I grew up as Katie, and then I got married and had the world word Catherine, and that's my given name. And Katie Candy sounded like an idiot, so I'm calling on big businesses, and I can't go in there saying, "Hey, I'm Katie Candy, give me your $100 million in deposits." It doesn't work that way. So I got married and said, "Okay, Catherine is what I'm going back to from a professional standpoint," and I truly believe that my worlds were separate, that Katie was just this one person at home and Catherine was a whole different persona at work. And as I got older, I figured out I'm the exact same person as I am at home as I am at work. And so that person is that type A personality. I like to say that I'm a recovering perfectionist, and I like to have things in order. I like to have processes. I enjoy cooking and taking care of people, but not I don't want to be taken advantage of. And I have very strong boundaries of what I allow into my life and what I don't. So probably strength is one of the words, and hardworking, professional, just dedicated individual.
So, in the history of South Carolina, if you could go back and witness an event that took place where either you're at now or in your state's history, what would you love to see firsthand?
Do I have to live back then, or I can just kind of visit? Because it
You could
was
visit.
hot, and they didn't have air conditioning back
Yeah,
then, and
right.
I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
Um,
This is
gosh,
this is like a Back to the Future moment. You get in, you punch the digits, you're off.
you know, we have a lot of history here about the Revolutionary War and being able to create that strength of standing on our own in America. And we've got just tons of history with it. They just did a reburial of 14 soldiers that were just found that were part of the Revolutionary War. And I think it would be interesting to see maybe the celebration of or the aftermath of really America being able to stand on their own.
That's excellent. So, if anyone out there, Catherine, wants to hire you, learn more about you, anything pertaining to your world, where do they go?
Yeah, that's CatherineCantey.com. It's with C's. And you can also find me on LinkedIn. But if you go to CatherineCantey.com, I've also have an opportunity for you just to book a call. And it's just an opportunity to be able to talk. A lot of the conversations that I have usually start with, "Hey, I don't know if you can help me, but can you listen to what I got?" And we listen to what they have, and I can either make that a referral to wherever it is that they want to go to help problem solve, or we reverse engineer and figure out how to solve the problem.
Excellent. Catherine, this has been great. Thank you for opening up. I love the energy and send my best to South Carolina.
I appreciate it, Joe. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Have a good day.